Wow, look at that. It is 12:01 p.m. Eastern Time, and there are already over 50 attendees Zooming in, logging in to our Zoom live family virtual chat. My name is Justin Insco, Interim Director of UNC's New Student Family Programs. Our goal is to help new students transition well to this place called Carolina. We also want to make sure we're developing a relationship with you as parents and family members who are supporting students likely from afar with good information, strategies, resources, talking points, things that help you help them as you speak with them, probably on a daily basis or weekly basis or what have you. We are still letting our attendee list uptick. We're at 127 of over 330 registrants today. So we got a full crew in hand. A few housekeeping items before we turn it over to our resident expert from University Career Services. Number one, the chat function is available, but only for us as hosts, as panelists, as folks who are speaking today. So if there's something we can support in that way, please don't hesitate to drop it in the chat. The Q&A feature, I'd love to point your attention to that. So as our guest goes through the content today for Navigating Internships, a guide for Carolina families, as you have questions, you might drop those in there. They are not anonymous. You can upvote. So if people are asking questions, you're like, wow, that's a really great question. You can upvote it. You can also comment on those if that's helpful for you as well. We are recording. So if you have to drop on and off at any point, know that we will follow up with the list of attendees with a link to re-watch, review, or share with your student if that is helpful. We'll also post this widely for our families to enjoy and to learn from later after we are done. If you're someone who needs to have audio off or low, know that there is a captioning, an auto captioning function should be at the bottom of your Zoom window. You can certainly click that or adjust the settings to make that how you need for your own purposes and comfort. Myself and another one of my colleagues, Anki Shinoy, will be in the background helping support in any way. So we are very glad you are here. Our attendee list is starting to level off. We're at about 152 folks. With that said, and without further ado, I want to welcome our guest from University Career Services, Kelsey Williams, who I believe is serving in an interim role. I'll let her fully share her expertise and her title and what she does for the fantastic student population here at Carolina. So for the next little bit, tune in, use that Q&A function, and enjoy what Kelsey has provided you today with Navigating Internships, a guide for Carolina families. Kelsey, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Justin. And thank you all for being here today. It's truly humbling to see that number of participants. It just goes to show your dedication to your students and your willingness to partner with us as we're providing these resources and opportunities for them as they're discovering what internships or what work experiences will contribute to their career journey. So thank you for being here. And also on behalf of Career Services, we also thank you as well. So as Justin mentioned, my name is Kelsey Williams. I am officially the Assistant Director for Internships and Experiential Learning. But right now, as Justin mentioned, I am serving in an interim role as the Associate Director over our External Relations team. So a broad overview of what that means, because as you can imagine, that's a couple of different hats that I wear. But I oversee the operations of our external relations team. So any work that has to do with employers that are looking to get connected to Carolina, I provide them with those next steps on how we can help them engage students for their internships or even full-time job opportunities. We work with local and out-of-state employers to help them get connected to some of those recruitment activities. And then also I do help with coordinating experiential learning activities, whether that is for career exploration or for networking. And I'll touch a bit more on what that means, but the broad overview is just really help getting students connected to the hands-on learning experiences for them to discover what they truly want to do with life after Carolina. So just another quick overview of who Career Services is. If this is your first time, meeting someone from our office, it's a pleasure to meet you. And we hope that you take the advantage to get further connected to our office. Our email address will be at the very last slide. So feel free to send an email and ask any other questions that you might have if you want to get connected with anyone else in our staff. But we do serve all Carolina students. There are a few exceptions with that. Some of the professional schools like dental and law students, we don't offer services to them, but whether that's an undergraduate or grad students or even international students, and also alumni up to 6 months after graduation, we serve all students. We're located in Haynes Hall, which is in the Quad. And some of the services that we provide, I'm going to touch a bit more on those throughout my presentation, but here's just a quick list for you. From the very beginning, when your student is first thinking about, their time at Carolina, who am I? What do I want to do with my major? All the way until they're getting ready to graduate, putting on that cap and gown, preparing their materials for a future job application. We are here to walk with Carolina students all throughout their time here on campus. And so the way that we help parents and students think about a student's time at Carolina is through our 4 steps to career success. So typically a first-year student is in that self-awareness space where they're learning more about themselves, getting more connected on campus, really getting that foundational understanding of what is my major and what could I want to do with that major. Step 2 is typically where we see sophomores, maybe some juniors, or even some ambitious freshmen as well. That is the career exploration. So that's where we typically encourage students to start going to career fairs, to meet with a career coach, and for them to just explore and see what are all of those different paths that I could go down based on my current career interests. And then the nature of our conversation today really is with experiential learning and with internships, work experiences, work-based learning. And this is really where the fun happens, right? This is where students get to connect all of their interests to the actual workplace environment. And our office helps students meet with employers, recruiters, having them go in person to different workplaces for networking opportunities. And so, like I said, this really is where the fun happens. And then finally, that self-marketing, professional branding, that's typically where you do see seniors preparing to graduate, getting their materials together, their resume, their cover letter, mock interview prep, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is helpful as I speak with parents, just for them to even advise their student. If you do have a freshman, sophomore, you can use the 4 steps to career success to guide them and advise them on what are some of the resources they should be using during that year at Carolina. So during our time together, we're going to talk about a couple of different things, but overarchingly, we'll be talking about how do you find internships and how can career services help you with that process. I do have some tips at the end for parents generally, just as some final remarks, but we'll go through some of our resources that we have, how our office in particular helps students with this process, and then we will be able to close out at the end. So as we're starting this conversation, I was thinking it'd be helpful, a lot of times the question is, well, what are employers looking for? And when a student then reaches the end of their time at Carolina, when they look back, what are some of the things that they wished that they would have had more of during their time in college? And maybe some of you who, have gone to college, maybe you could also give the same advice to your student in saying, I wish that I had done X, Y, Z to better prepare for the current job that I have. And so we use the National Career Mobility Alumni Survey. It's called NACM. That's the acronym for it. And this is really another foundation for a lot of our conversations with students. So this is the full list of things that alumni have stated that they wish that they had taken more advantage of, or think that they said, this is what truly made the difference in me being in my current career today. And so you see on there that having an internship that's related to their current career was really important to a lot of these alumni. But in addition to that, networking with employers and having an outline of a career plan, receiving helpful career advice, a lot of these things help contribute to the overall success once you are looking back at your time in college. And so we like to use this as a framework as we are speaking with students. And I would hope that you also can use similar language when you're speaking with your student as well. And so based on that, the National Association for Colleges and Employers, which their acronym is NACE, if you've heard of them, they have put together a list of 6 different skill competencies that they say when a student is looking to get into a new internship or even their full-time job, here are some of those skills, more language that a student should have as they're going into that opportunity, whether it's skills that they currently possess or it is those that they can tell a future employer, I'm looking to grow in these areas. And so again, as you're speaking with your student, there are ways for you to help them self-identify. This is where I'm feeling strong, but these are the areas that I still want to work in. And so again, this just helps them frame as they're thinking of what future opportunities do I want? Let me try to find opportunities that will help me grow in my critical thinking, in my communication, in my leadership development. So it's just more helpful tools for your student, which really helps set that foundation for their exploration and their searching for their internships. So there are 4 main ways, and of course, as you know, there's so many ways to find a job, right? A lot of different platforms that are out there, even a lot of AI tools as well. But these are the 4 that we mainly encourage students to use in our office. So I'm going to talk a good bit about Handshake in a second with a couple of videos and other screenshots to just help give you an idea of what the platform is all about. LinkedIn is up here because in a lot of our coaching appointments, we do recommend that students use LinkedIn, and we have a lot of resources to help them as they're figuring out how to tailor their online presence for a job that they want or for an internship, how to network with UNC alum or other recruiters through LinkedIn. So that's why LinkedIn is up there, but mainly a lot of that information comes through our coaching appointments and also through some of our online resources. Heels Engage is another platform I'm going to spend a little bit of time on later in the presentation, but just to give you the broad overview, this is one of our newer alumni networking and engagement platforms that we have. So all UNC students have access to Heels Engage with their Onion, same as Handshake. So they don't have to create an account. And then also we have a large number of UNC alum that are also on the platform, and they have opted in to specifically engage with current students, whether for mentorship or other opportunities. So I'll touch on that a bit later. And then also there is a career community at UNC as well. So beyond just career services, our campus is decentralized when it comes to career preparation and exploration. So I'll touch a bit on what that means, but this is just to let you know that beyond our office, because as you can imagine, Carolina is very large. So it really takes a team of us to all come together to support your student with their career exploration. So first, we're going to touch on Handshake. And to frame this conversation, here are 4 main tips that I give to students when they are looking to use Handshake for their internship searching. So number 1 is completing your profile. We'll touch on that, using the filters and keywords, always saving your search, because, you know, we all hate when you get so far into something and then you're like, wait, what was the name of that job opportunity? So we always encourage them, save it. And the platform almost operates like social media. So the more that you use it, the more that it's also developing an algorithm based on your interest and preferences and the way that you engage with it. And so then finally, also messaging employers, and you could also message other students as well. So we're always encouraging students to broaden their network, finding other ways to get connected through the platform. So this is a video just showing you from our website. This is what your student would see. You would then just scroll down on the main homepage. You see then that's where Handshake is. You could click that, and then from there, you're able to log in. This shows you that your student already has access because you just use that single sign-on. They'll put in their Onion, and then that's how they access the platform. So once a student logs in, this is what that main page is going to look like. Like I said, number 1 tip is that they update their profile. So once you start, your profile is maybe at 0 or 5%. We typically recommend that students get their profile updated all the way to 70%. The reason why is that through Handshake, employers are also able to reach out to students as well. So the benefit of that is that as you are updating your profile, an employer will use Handshake to see what are students that have potentially this major. I'm looking for students that already have their resume attached to their profile, so I don't have to reach out to the ones where I don't know what prior work experiences that they've had or if they've been a part of any other leadership opportunities, right? So the more that you have your profile up to date, the more that it also increases your chances of being discovered. But then also, as you're engaging with an employer, they know in their mind, this is a student that's gone that extra step to be prepared for these types of conversations. And so that circle right there, you'll just click where the student's profile icon is, you'll click profile, and then from there you can start filling out the information. So this is what it looks like. You see right here, 15% was the extent that I had gone at the time I took the screenshot. But you can put in, what are some of your passions? What are some of your interests? And you can help your student kind of think through where it is that they're at currently and how to tailor that. A tip that I have also is that the student does switch their settings from private to community whenever they are ready to be discovered by that employer. And so that's just the best way if they are interested in that. If they're not interested and they just want to use the platform to discover opportunities, they can keep that private as well. So the searching and filter functions, this is really where the magic happens, right? So they're at this top bar. And the way that you get here is that from that main home page, you'll click where it says jobs. This top bar is going to be your student's best friend. So you can filter based on a number of different things. My tip is that a student typically only uses between 1 to 2, maybe 3 filters at a time. And the reason being is that oftentimes students will miss out on really good opportunities just because they've used a certain filter. So for example, maybe you set the location to a certain, a certain radius, but maybe there are other remote opportunities that won't get listed because of that filter, right? Algorithms can be weird. So I would just recommend if your student knows that they want to be close to home for their internship, then I would say make that the top priority for their search. If your student is looking for paid opportunities only, that is another filter that you can use. You'll click where it says all filters, and it's one of the top secondary filters that's listed right there. I typically recommend also that if they are looking for internships, they always select where it says internships. That then helps you curate the feed based on only internship opportunities. And for any parents that do have students that would need OPT or CPT, this is the optional practical training or curricular practical training. This is typically for international students that are have a class that they already need to do an internship or some kind of experiential learning for. There is a filter for this as well. Or if you have a student that will be looking for sponsorship afterwards, that's another filter that you could put in as well. And there are a ton of opportunities. So I would recommend definitely using some of those filters, playing around with it, and then going from there. So here is another video where I'm showing based on if a student was looking at Handshake through their phone, which most students do, this is kind of what it's going to look like from their perspective. And I will add too that there is a Handshake app. So if you want to encourage your student to get the app, it also just helps them be able to see opportunities a lot easier. Oops. I don't know what's happening. Let's try to present that again. Okay, here we go. So you'll see some helpful tips there on the home screen. You can select jobs. This is what it looks like from the phone view. So right here, I clicked where it said UNC Chapel Hill Collections. So that's another filter that I would highly recommend. You see here that there are different filters that your student can use. We have higher international students. If you or your student is really invested in companies that have diversity missions or statements, or that they're committed to diversity, if that's important to your student, you could select that. Hires from our school is always a great filter just to see specifically which ones are those that have participated in events on campus or have done, other opportunities with our external relations team. The Great for Internships one is also another great one as well, because that just shows you the ones that students have received internships at these companies in the past. So now you see that list, it's been curated, your students can scroll through. So right here, I'm going to click the Cisco one. Cisco is a big employer at UNC. Let's say I was interested in marketing. So, okay, I see that. Down here, I can see when's the application deadline, plenty of time since it's April. I will note, though, that a lot of students make the mistake of saying, oh, applications in April, I'm going to wait until it's pretty much April. I would recommend as soon as you see it and as soon as you have all of your application materials together, just start applying to some of these positions. Because sometimes the company will list that the deadline is April, but they may start interviewing earlier. So that's just my tip for that as well. So there's that save button. So you don't want to lose the opportunity. I also always recommend that a student go through the description. So this is that description listed right here. The why Cisco, definitely take note of that because those are different pieces of information that a student can add in their personal statement or in their cover letter, even different keywords they can add on their resume. You see there are some videos that were listed up there too. So just more ways to learn about what it's like to intern at Cisco. Down here, you then see there are other opportunities that are also posted. So if your student was thinking about a full-time job or anything like that, they could do that. So then from there, I then went to Cisco's main homepage. And so from the homepage, that's also where you're able to get more information. So I always recommend read the description. The qualifications are also listed in that description. And then also on that main homepage, you will see that there are recruiters that are listed as well. So when I went to the Cisco page, that's where you're able to see who are the public staff members that have opened themselves up to connect with students, which is also why I would recommend Handshake over other platforms, because on Handshake, that's where it makes networking and connecting with employers for opportunities so much easier. So through Handshake, your student can either reach out to the recruiter that posted that position, ask any questions, do an informational interview, but they can also reach out to other UNC students that have also gained opportunities at that company. So that's an opportunity for a referral. That's an opportunity to get the inside scoop on what made you stand out in your application, et cetera, et cetera. So those are some of those main tips that we typically give for students. The other thing that I would add as well is that on the company's main homepage, if you scroll down, there typically is a section where it says upcoming events. And so this is another great opportunity for your student to stand out in the application process, because it's not enough just to find an opportunity, apply to it, and then say, okay, I'm done, right? You want to stand out, you want to go above and beyond, which also is a stamp of a Carolina student as well. Our students are always finding ways to go above just the average application status. And so attending an event is great because a lot of these are typically informational sessions. Sometimes it's a coffee hour that's happening on campus. Sometimes it's a virtual luncheon. So just other ways for your student to get online with the recruiter, ask some really good questions, get more insight onto what they're looking for in their applicants. So I would definitely recommend if there is an event that your student puts that on their calendar to make sure that they attend that. So that's the overview about Handshake. If you have any questions, definitely drop those in the chat. I'm happy to revisit any other questions that may have been listed. So Heels Engage, I talked about this a little bit earlier. Now we're circling back. So what is this platform? Essentially, Heels Engage is a online networking, but also a place for students to find opportunities that are also posted in Handshake, but that are connected to a UNC alum. So the benefit, again, of using this is the networking piece. So you have the alumni networking, you're able to see not only just alumni actually, but also UNC students that have had certain internships that your student might be interested in, or other faculty members and staff members that are on campus that are all on the platform. But we mainly encourage students to filter and connect with alum. The other thing too, so in connecting with alum, that's another opportunity for those informational interviews. The alum that are on here have opted into being on the platform. So your student will know that they're not just cold emailing somebody, trying to get in contact, trying to get some answers, right? I mean, these people, the UNC Alumni Network is also so strong and so well connected. And it really is a beautiful thing for me, even to see how many alum offer their services and want to get connected to help students in their career journey. So if somebody is on this platform, that they want to be on this platform. And so, like I mentioned before, the same way that you would log into Handshake is the same way that your student would log into this platform. They also use their Onion. They can use the single sign-on same way that they would with Handshake. So once they're on the platform, this is what that main page looks like. I typically recommend from the main homepage that you hover over where it says connect up here, and then they click community, and then that's where they're going to be able to see the broader community that's on the platform. So this is what it looks like from the phone view. You'll click where it says connect. You'll then go to community. And so then here's that full list. So you see people that are, like I said, faculty members, you have the current students, you have alumni. So it's a broad list all on the platform. I'm going to show you here how to filter specifically for UNC alum, which I would say is one of the bigger reasons to be on this platform. So here again, though, you see all of these different filters. So even if you maybe weren't interested just in alum, but you wanted to filter based on major, location, if you're looking for someone that's first gen, different job functions, right? There's so many different things that you could filter through. And then here is that full list of alum only that are on the platform. And so here I clicked on one of the alum. You can see what are some of those key motivators. So this person loves learning new things, working with others. Right here, it says that me and this person have one thing in common. And so you see other achievements. So down here where it says this person's career story, right? This is where you get to see when did they graduate from UNC Chapel Hill. You can also see if this person has had other education experiences, like maybe they went on to get a master's degree, maybe they have their doctorate degree, right? And this helps your student know, based on this person's major, did they have to get a higher degree of education? Because sometimes there's a myth that just because I'm a biology major, if I want to be able to get a well-paying job, I have to go to grad school. Not necessarily. So this platform will show, here are some biology majors that, yes, went on to get a certain degree, but what degree did they get to then get the job that they currently have? Or here's a biology major that did not go to grad school, but ended up working at this corporate company doing this job function. How do they like that? And so then from here, I can message that recruiter to learn more about their experience. And then it's similar to LinkedIn in that same way, that you get to see, here's their education, and then what jobs did they go on to get after having that experience. So all in all, a lot of these resources, as I mentioned to you, maybe you're taking notes, maybe you have some follow-up questions. And this is just truly scratching the surface of all the resources that we do have, right? But I would recommend that the number one resource that you encourage your students to use are our career coaching appointments. So we offer in-person and virtual appointments Monday through Friday. And this is just, again, a broad overview of some of those resources. You do see that job and internship searching is one of them. So let's say that you tell your student about Heels Engage. You're saying, hey, here are all the benefits. Kelsey Williams was telling me you can connect with alumni, you can find job opportunities. This is great. Your student then says, okay, well, maybe I need somebody to help show me how to use it again, or maybe give me additional tips, or maybe just to sit with me as I go through this resource. So that's when I would say, have the coaching appointment, have one of our staff members sit down with your student and really help them process through their interests, where they're at right now in the 4 steps to career success. And then our coach, within that 30-minute appointment, we're able to take them to that next step. So as I mentioned, there is a network of career offices at UNC as well. So somebody had sent in a question asking about student athletes. And so I did want to mention here as well, I highlighted this one so that I would remember your question if you are here, but that even in our athletics department, there are coaching staff and across different departments and entities on campus that specifically serve these different populations. So if you see that one of the schools or departments that your student is in, I would encourage you to tell your students to find the contact information for the career staff that is in their department. If your student doesn't know, you could always reach out to us and then we can give you that contact info as well. But typically it's on their website. You just have to type in whatever the school's name is and then career coaches or career team. And then there is that list that's right there. So yeah, this is the full list for that. Another thing I wanted to highlight as well. So sometimes folks have questions trying to understand how the credit, how credit works for students. So, will a student receive course credit if they do their internships, or does University Career Services oversee the credit bearing process when it comes to internships? So yes, your student can receive course credit for their internship. No, Career Services does not oversee the internship placement process or anything like that. We don't place students in internships. We mainly provide resources for students to discover internships and empowering them to do a lot of that networking and searching. But if you did not know, within the Ideas in Action curriculum for undergraduate students, there is a requirement that your student would do an experiential education course. So in the course catalog, they call them EE courses for that reason. And so your student may not necessarily have to get an internship, because a lot of these experiences will look good on a future resume, especially depending on the career field that your student wants to go in. So my recommendation would be, number one, that your student talk with their director of undergraduate studies, because that's the person that traditionally signs off on the EE course requirement. And there typically are prerequisites as well. So your student may have to be at least a sophomore, but more traditionally a junior or a senior to be able to do some of these courses. And so let's say that your student does want to get an internship. What are some of the ways that they can do that with assistance from UCS? And so some of the employer involved opportunities that we have, that our external relations team, so my team that I oversee, here are some of those activities and opportunities that we provide. And if you as a parent have connections with your HR staff, or maybe your recruiter yourself, and you want to get connected with us to do some of these opportunities, we can definitely talk after this call too. But here's just the broad overview. Career treks are a lot of fun. These are company site visits where we take a bus to go to a company. This is a great networking and career exploration opportunity. So truly all the steps from step 1 all the way to step 4 with our 4 steps to career success, just a great opportunity for students to get exposure to different career paths. Information sessions are always happening on campus, whether that is tabling that's in the student union, or maybe they're having an information session also in the union or in our space. Working with student organizations is another great opportunity as well, because a lot of student orgs have employers or alumni coming back to their club meetings. So definitely, if your student is not already in a student org and they're thinking about other ways to get exposure to employers and professional development, student orgs are definitely the way to go. We have career fairs in the fall and in the spring. So definitely encourage your student to check those out. And all the information also is on our website. So anytime you're wondering, is there a career trek going on? Is there a company information session? Are there virtual events that are going on? When's the next career fair? All that's going to be on our website under the events tab. So just some additional resources to highlight as well. So let's say that you do have a first year sophomore, maybe even a junior, right? And your student currently does not have work experience on their resume. How can they then stand out in their application process? So some of the recommendations that I have, micro internships are really great. If you want, we can talk more about that offline, but in its essence, these are shorter term, all paid work experiences with real employers. Oftentimes we see this as the gateway to the full-time internship. And our office works with employers to also get them on our platform for micro internships so that students can get some of that hands-on work experience. We also have a career readiness certificate in our office, which has micro internships and an internship and a full-time job embedded within it. So students get to pick whatever kind of hands-on experience they want. In addition to that, they go through an a la carte experience of a lot of our career services resources. So, and then you get a certificate on your resume, right? So it's a win-win-win in all different aspects with that. Again, networking events that we have, I touched on that already. We do have a internships newsletter. So if like I said, if you're more of an employer, you're a recruiter, you want to post your internship to then get UNC students connected to your internship, you as an employer can post your opportunity in the newsletter. If you, even as a parent, actually, if you would want to sign up to receive the internship newsletter, you can sign up for that, or you can, it would be preferred that you encourage your student to sign up for the internships newsletter, which comes out monthly. And then they get a curated list of opportunities from Handshake, but then also external opportunities that we get in our office as well. So we've reached the end of our time together. Here are just some final little tips, broad overview of a lot of things that we touched on today. So if you are a parent which most likely, I'm sure most of you here are, if you're looking for ways to help your student with their internship search, number one, like I said, a career coaching appointment is a great place to start. Just because you have another person in addition to yourself to encourage them and just explain why internships are important, some of the benefits of them, how do you start finding them, what are some tips and tricks when it comes to using different filters or different platforms. I would also say that as they are thinking of where they're at in the 4 steps to career success, now you have learned more about what that is. And I'm sure even your wheels are turning thinking, okay, maybe my student is more in step 1 and step 2, but they're focused on preparing their materials like their resume and their cover letter. And maybe they need to think more about what it is that they actually want to do. So then that also helps you frame your conversations with your student as well. And then, like I said, just staying up to date on all of our activities that we have going on. A lot of that information is on our website under the events tab. So you can find a lot of that information without even needing to contact your student. And then you can tell them, hey, there's a career fair coming up that sounds like you might be go, here's the date and time, et cetera, et cetera. But then then step 2, if you are looking to hire a UNC student as an intern, or if you're connected with your HR department and you want for us to hire more UNC grads, number one, I would say get connected with me. We can talk offline. We can talk about your next steps on how to get your opportunities posted on Handshake and also posted in our internships newsletter. And also get you participating in some of our recruitment events. We love having employers come to us and just helping them figure out what's best for their company based on their recruitment goals. So we'd be happy to walk you or the recruiter at your company through some of those next steps. And I will say too, I didn't have this in my presentation, but if you are a startup company, Innovate Carolina is a great place for you to start with that, just for you to receive your next steps on how to, again, get connected with UNC students and just even more resources you're looking to start your company as well. So, yep, that is everything. Thank you for your time and your attention. We can see if there were questions that I need to answer, but yeah, thank you all so much.
Well, I think part of this thanks goes to you as well, Kelsey. I really appreciate hearing. It's great for me as a staff member who's talking with families often to have this in my back pocket, just ready to share. And certainly as I talk to students I interact with often. For the attendees that are still here, I know you might be peeling away, but there are some specific questions that dropped in. I'll address this one first. Someone just put in, how can we access the recorded webinar? If you signed in or registered for this, I will directly send this recording to you. It'll be a YouTube link. Additionally, where you likely found out about this on our digital newsletter via email, we'll also post it in Campus ESP. It's called the UNC Family Experience Portal. a lot of names, but it's the portal. We post a lot of our content for families. We'll also send that out in our newsletters. So check your inboxes over the next few days, next couple of weeks at maximum, so you'll get that polished version to you. Kelsey, with your permission, we could share a PDF of slides if you're willing. If not, we can pull some content and a recap for folks who are here and beyond this call as well.
Yes.
In terms of some Q&A, thank you for that. In terms of some Q&A, a couple things came up. I'll try to lump them together if they're related. You mentioned a few different resources for internships: Handshake, Heels Engage, LinkedIn, Carolina Career Community. The question is, do companies or external partners, do they use one site more than others? Where should people maybe spend most of their time when looking?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I would say Handshake is the best place to start. So probably spending more time with Handshake, because that is the main platform that we onboard a lot of our employer partners to. And then from there, if they're looking to get further connected, then that's when we take it to the next step. I will say Heels Engage is more so about connecting the alum to the position that's already posted in Handshake. So if you have maybe, you know, 2 monitors, or you have 2 screens up, or you want to split your screen in half, you can see what are some positions that are posted, and then see through Heels Engage, are there any UNC contacts that I could reach out to say, hey, I saw this position was posted, I'm really interested, you know, and I want to get some more information. But I would say if you're looking to prioritize one over the other, Handshake would be the best place to start.
Perfect. Great to know. We had a couple questions about qualifications, specifically class years. So one person asked, if it says we're looking for juniors and seniors, does that mean rising juniors and seniors? What's your take on that?
So right, that's another good one. I mean, I would say on average, if it says we are looking for juniors, that means currently standing juniors. There are times where a company will say, we're looking for juniors, but then have the graduating class. So I would also look out for that in a lot of positions. But traditionally, whatever it currently says, that's what they're looking for.
Perfect. Related to class year, Richard asks, I have a sophomore. How do they go about finding an internship? Does that differ for them as a sophomore? And they're also out of state. Are there any nuances there you might share?
So I would say if you're out of state student, so I guess first starting with the sophomore, there are opportunities for sophomores. I would say that in Handshake, you could use the search bar to put in sophomore, see what comes up from there. I would also say in the internship newsletter, we do curate a lot of positions where we say open to sophomores, open to first-year students. So then that's how you know, okay, this company is broadly looking for talent. I will also say there are some companies like Belk, for example, which is a North Carolina company. They have it's a program that is a pipeline program that then goes into the junior year internship. So I would also encourage you, I would encourage your student to look for programs like that, depending on what their career interests are, for them to find some more of those pipeline summer program experiences, because then that helps you stand out in the internship whenever you apply. But I would also say, if your student isn't able to find any internships that are matching what they're interested in, that's when I would say get some more experience in the meantime, like with a micro internship or with other virtual experiences. I would say any of those things will help your student whenever they're preparing to apply for the position. And our career coaches can walk your student through all of those resources too.
And we've talked about juniors and seniors, sophomores, maybe out of state. Let's go a bit earlier. Do you recommend that current first-year students attend internship and career fairs to get exposure, or is it too early?
No, it's definitely not too early. I love hearing from employers when they tell me, I met with a good number of freshmen, and the hunger of a lot of UNC students is, I think, what truly makes our campus remarkable against other institutions. So a lot of our employers love to have those early identification conversations with students. And I think it helps your student, again, have a better idea of what employers are looking for, what are some of the skills that they're looking to identify. They then get to map out, how can I best prepare during my time at Carolina, leading up to when you are open for internships. And a lot of our employers come back year to year, same career fair. So even if, I would encourage you to tell your student, find a way that makes you stand out, even as a first year. So, hi, my name is, my LinkedIn profile is already up to date. Would love to stay connected with you, and then truly staying connected, like following up and coming to the event in your sophomore year saying, hey, I remember you. We talked about XYZ. All those little things, again, it just shows that your student truly is hungry for these opportunities. And you never know who someone else knows, right? So even if that recruiter doesn't have a current available opportunity, most recruiters are well connected, especially if your student is looking for another opportunity in North Carolina or in the Research Triangle Park. So I would just say, it's not too early, especially because it's, again, just helping them in their career exploration, seeing who are the companies that are even coming to these career fairs and are interested in recruiting UNC students, who's missing from the table, right? And what other companies would I want to get connected to? So yeah, I think there's so many different benefits. And I will add too that our coaching team puts on a lot of career fair preparation events leading up to the fairs. So I would recommend that even for you as a parent, all of those events are going to be on our website on the events tab. So I would definitely recommend, if it is a resume review, if it is, an informational interview with with an employer, like, again, all those little things, even as a first year, it just sets you up for the long run.
I think our students are so fortunate that not only do you put on these fairs and work with companies and external folks, but you help them prepare before they even walk in the room. That's really cool stuff. Question, can students access career coaching over the summer, or do they have to be taking summer classes to have some access to that?
So there are coaching services over the summer as well. I will note, though, that we don't have as much availability over the summer as we do during the school year. So if your student is able, I would say definitely encourage them to use the resources over the fall and the spring. Because even over break, so spring break is coming up soon, we're still going to be here because we're full-time staff. So if that is a good time for your student to, once classes aren't as busy and they have that week to kind of relax and reset, I would encourage them even to schedule the appointment then. But we will have available coaching opportunities also over the summer.
That's a good idea, right? Sometimes your rest over spring break could be a great time to do some self-care and plan for what's next.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do the career coaches have knowledge around a particular field? Can they be matched with students if they have a particular major or career leaning?
So you can request to be paired with a certain coach. I would recommend that you go to our website, and then from there, there's a bio. I mean, all of us actually have a bio. So you could read the bio to see, what was that person's major, what's been their focus or concentration. But we are truly, our coaching team is more generalists. So they aren't as specialized. Now, the department-based coaches, they are more specialized. So if your student is a computer science major, they're looking for computer science specific coaching expertise, that would be that department. If it's Keenan Flagler, right? They have their own coaching staff, their own, resources that they offer. So then you would just go directly to them. But for a lot of the other humanities and social sciences, those are the ones that typically come to us, and it is a bit more broader. But if that coach has that specialty area, then you'll see that on our website.
Let's see here. I'm trying to find questions that might have additional upvotes, since most folks would want to hear that. This one with several votes says, can you explain more about the micro internships? So I'm not sure exactly what they want to know, but is there anything you would expand on in this setting?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, the main thing about micro internships is that they're all paid, all professional, and they are project-based experiences. So with an internship, that is typically, summer long, semester long. You have multiple projects that you're working on. You're truly, immersed in a company's environment. There's an onboarding process, et cetera, et cetera. A micro internship is more project based, like I said. So you will, similar to Handshake or any other job platform, there's a full list of opportunities that are listed. The pay is listed and very transparent. You see what skills are required for the opportunity. Very rarely will they say, we're looking for a senior, we're looking for a junior, which is why really these projects are designed for folks that are very early in their career to little to no work experience, because it's a project. So, and you don't have to be a specific major either for any of these projects. So they'll say the category or the department of the project. So let's say it is a data analysis project, or let's say it's a marketing project. So, there's a lot of them that are, we need someone to update our website with certain information, or we need someone to kick off our TikTok for our company, right? Or we need someone to look through all of this data that we have and to be able to put it in a chart, or some kind of interactive graphic. So a lot of students double up on these projects, right? You can have two projects going at the same time. You can finish one and then go do another one. It is application based. So our office has put together some resources and some tips and tricks on how you can stand out in the application. We actually have a video on our website of UNC students talking about their success with micro internships, which is pretty fun. But we've seen great success with micro internships. And like I said, it's typically the gateway into the full-time internship or even the full-time job. We have a lot of seniors who get to senior year and are like, ooh, I have pretty much just been focusing on my classes and I'm about to graduate in a couple of months and I have nothing else on my resume. A micro internship is a great way to start getting some work experience on your resume. And then, like I said, that could lead to the full-time job as well.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. For folks, just a reminder, I am dropping some links in the chat as well. Recently, I just dropped the micro internships website from UCS, which probably has a lot of what Kelsey has already shared. A couple of things kind of compiled together. It sounds like some folks are interested in their first year students or early students and their pre-med. Are there any kind of connecting points or next steps if they're interested in experiences related to pre-medical or medical areas?
Yeah, so we do have pre-health advisors. I would definitely recommend connecting with them, just to make sure that, schoolwork wise, that they're on track for their desires after they graduate. We do see a lot of students that start off pre-med and then decide to change their mind. So I would recommend encouraging them to go to a lot of recruitment events and opportunities. Because our pre-health advising space is relatively new on our campus, I think they maybe just started like last spring. So because of that, our office is continuing to work with them and see what are some other ways that we can support pre-med or pre-health students. So it's definitely a growing area. So if you do have a first year student, I would say just direct them to a lot of the resources that we have, and we're continuing to have, more opportunities showing up too. We actually have a health schools information fair that's going to be in March. So that is on our website. So I would recommend, and it's under the career fair tab, even though it's an information fair. So I would recommend, if your student is thinking, I'm pre-med, I'm probably going to need to go to grad school for medical school. Like I said, even as a first year student, come to the fair, get some information, have some great conversations with the recruiters, and hear directly from them what is it that you're looking for in these applications? How can I stand out? What's the timeline for applying to these opportunities? Oh, and speaking of that, we do have grad school preparation coaches as well on our staff. So if your student is looking to do like a grad school or even a pre-law school preparation coaching appointment, throughout the fall in particular, we have a lot of those events and resources that we come out with as well. So yeah, so I would say whether it's an event or whether it's just directly networking with some of those recruiters, we can help with all of those areas too.
Thank you, Kelsey. We have roughly 4 minutes before our allotted time is up. I want to be respectful of Kelsey and the time she's given today. So I'll leave it with one final question, but we do have recording of the, I think, roughly 3 or 4 that we didn't get to. As parents and families, you have access to our office. Please email or call our office at New Student Family Programs. We can help connect with Kelsey and others at the institution if there's things that you need or questions you have. Kelsey, this is, I think, an interesting question. This is how I read it, so please forgive me if I'm misreading it. It's about a daughter, sophomore at Husband School, isn't getting or is having a hard time getting opportunity to interview for potential internships and is finding some frustration. This stage they're calling it kind of the follow-up stage, or is concerned on how they might follow up. So the way I read this is when folks are kind of getting no's or not hearing back to get an interview, how can they get coaching or support on specifically reaching out to potential companies or, groups that are doing hiring in follow-up? What recommendations would you have, and what would you tell a student?
Yeah, that's a good one. So on Handshake, for example, if your daughter found the opportunity on Handshake, most often on Handshake, you're able to see who the recruiter is for that company. And sometimes you can even see who the recruiter is that posted the position. So I would recommend that your daughter sends a message to that contact that is listed on Handshake. If they're not listed on Handshake, and you said that your daughter is already in Hussman, I would see, because Hussman does have their own coaching team as well. So I would see if they have any connections specifically to that company, if they wouldn't mind sharing that contact info with you, or, so I think maybe reaching out to the recruiter that way and just saying, hey, I applied. I am curious about what your timeline is for responding back to applicants. So I would maybe start there. And then I would see, okay, if you can't get in touch with anybody, I would then, in a sense, go back to the drawing board. So is it my cover letter? Is it my resume? Is it that I wasn't able to get in contact with anybody to kind of have that foot in the door to give a recommendation for me, so maybe it's an opportunity to get connected to an alum, or maybe it's an opportunity to, just kind of rework your resume so that it is tailored more to this specific position.
Thank you for that, Kelsey. With that said, it's 12:59 p.m. I know we still have 116 people and a few questions remaining. I did drop our office's email address, UCS or University Career Services email address. And Kelsey, forgive me, I should have asked previously, but I do have your email address here, as well as the staff page for UCS, if that is of support and service to your student, or you have these lingering questions. A final reminder that we will send out the link to this polished up presentation, as well as a slide deck. Kelsey, if you are willing, I'm happy to convert that to a PDF and make that available to folks. And with that said, I know that you all are here because you care about your students. They mean the world to you. I only have a 2-year-old, so it's hard for me to kind of picture them as, traditionally 18 to 22-year-olds ready to launch into this world. So our hearts are with you. Please know that we have folks here to help support your student. It's hard for them to walk too far without tripping over somebody that wants to help them succeed. So please encourage them to self-direct, find us. We're happy to help. And finally, here at 1 o'clock, a huge thank you. I know you can't hear the applause, Kelsey, from folks who are here, but on behalf of them, I'll share just a note of thanks. Appreciate you doing this for families and parents of our Carolina students. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you all for being here. And thank you, Justin, for the invitation as well. And yeah, and yes, it's okay that you shared my email. If you do have any other follow-up questions, feel free to email me, or you can email our ucs@unc.edu. So thank you all.
Perfect. We'll say goodbye for now. I'll follow up with you, Kelsey, in the near future. And of course, all of our participants and registrants here. Thank you and take care. Look out for more in the future. Be well.
Okay, thank you.